Hi, my name is Christina Shirillo, and this is my video presentation of my final lesson plan. My lesson plan was based off reading comprehension. My lesson objectives were that students will answer WH questions and will be able to search stories for keywords regarding each question. They will color coordinate, highlighting answers to the questions, and they will participate in turn and talk after completing worksheets to compare their answers. The language demands I placed on the students were that they will expressively answer questions in grammatically appropriate full sentences when writing and verbally discussing their answers. Students will engage in conversation to discuss their answers out loud when called upon and during turn and talk. Key vocabulary was movies, students, permission slips, trips, books, compare, characters. My resources were grade 2 reading comprehension worksheets titled Going to the Movies. My prior academic learning and prerequisite skills were that students can appropriately attend to work and they can identify what the question is asking of them. Students should also follow along while class reads aloud through the passage. Students can try to sound out words they're unfamiliar with and decode to the best of their ability. Some misconceptions I had about this lesson were that students may require multiple choice answers rather than independently forming a complete sentence. Students may confuse where and when, and students may need help correctly pronouncing words. Students may also have trouble with correct punctuation. My lesson plan detail was that I will begin my lesson by discussing some of our favorite class trips we've taken this year. I will ask students to discuss our class trip we took to the movies a few months ago to go see Born in China. We will discuss our favorite part of going to the movies, such as the comfortable chairs, the popcorn, candy, fruit snacks, juice, so on. I will have students sitting at their desk attending to the front of the classroom. I will share with the class what my favorite class trip was and why. I will ask the class what their favorite trips have been and what their favorite part of the movie class trip that we took was. Students should be sitting appropriately attending to the teachers. They will share with the class what their favorite trips have been, and students will discuss their favorite part of the class trip to the movies. I will introduce our class reading, Going to the Movies, and ask students to keep in mind what they are reading about, some of the story, key points, and vocabulary. I will also ask the class what they enjoyed about their class trip. I will introduce the teacher copy of Going to the Movies and explain to students that I will be reading the passage and answering the questions. I'll hand out the worksheets and to read aloud as a group. I will have students highlight question 1 in blue, question 2 in red, question 3 in green, and question 4 in yellow. Students will then go back to the passage to find the answer to each question, and they will color coordinate, highlighting the answers. Students will participate in turn and talk at the end of this activity, and they will discuss their answers and why they chose them. I will guide students when requiring help to appropriately pronounce words throughout the reading. I will have the class take turns reading the passage aloud. If the students require help pronouncing the words, I will help them. I first would like them to sound it out on their own, though. Students will be assessed through corresponding comprehension worksheets with questions that correspond with the reading. They will be assessed through their homework assignment following this lesson. Students will be assessed through the comprehension worksheet, and they will be given teacher-made worksheet to complete for homework. We'll further explore and reinforce what they read about in today's lesson. Students will participate in turn and talk with their classmates. We will review the answers as a class and will have turn and talk partners grade each other's work. We'll break down questions that students may have had difficulty with answering or reading. We will also discuss the importance of our reading. Students will share their answers as a class, showing what they understood or had trouble with. I will collect the worksheets at the end of the lesson to review who understood what each lesson was asking and who needed further guidance. If time permits, I will have students write in their journal about their favorite class trip. They could also discuss similarities from the reading, Going to the Movies, and their own personal experience on our class trip to the movies. Permission slips, parents coming on the trip, what snacks they enjoyed, and etc. Modifications will be made for students who did not meet the learning objectives. Modifications will be made to the worksheets. Evidence from the administered IRI shows that Michael required multiple choice answers rather than writing complete sentences explaining what he has read. To complete extension assignment, Michael will provide a graphic organizer, will be provided with a graphic organizer as well as fill-in-the-blank sentences set up for him. For example, my favorite class trip was when we went to the blank. Michael will underline keywords throughout the reading passage after reviewing the questions. For English learners, I will underline keywords throughout the reading passage, having students focus on the vocabulary words to understand the main idea of the passage. My lesson rationale was that reading comprehension is a skill used in our day-to-day lives. Decoding words is a helpful skill, however, understanding what you're reading is a key. Being a successful reader means understanding what you have read. My assessment strategy 1 was that students will be post-tested on this reading passage to assure comprehension of this topic. Students will also use highlighting as a helpful skill to answer reading the questions. Students will answer WH questions, and students will be able to complete a form and appropriate sentences when answering questions. Students will score an 80% or higher on post-test to pass this reading comprehension worksheet. Feedback to students will be that I will grade students' teacher-made worksheets to gauge their understanding and provide modifications for the follow-up lesson. My assessment strategy number 2 would be exit strips. Students will also complete exit strips at the end of this lesson. These exit strips will show that students understood vocabulary and key points throughout this passage. Students will answer and complete sentences with proper punctuation, and they will write their exit strips and complete sentences as well. I will grade students' work and gauge their areas of need in order to modify further lesson plans. I will provide feedback to students regarding what they excelled in as well as what they should have practiced. If necessary, I will remediate areas of need. Thank you.